Hi, this is Leonard Smith from Sense Memory, and tonight we're getting back to a fragrance that I introduced as my Chanel surprise a few weeks ago, and I promised a review, so we're going to be doing a review. But first, we're going to have a champagne cocktail, a little bit of champagne. Of course, I'm doing this backwards because I'm so excited to share this wonderful fragrance with you. So actually, I'm putting in a little bit of cognac, which should go in first, over the sugar cube drenched in Angostura bitters, and then the cognac, and then the champagne. But whichever way you do it, champagne cocktail cannot be ruined. It's just such a simple cocktail. So stay tuned, and we're going to explore this wonderful fragrance by Chanel. Cheers. So here we are, finally discussing and reviewing the 31 Rue Cambon from the Chanel Exclusifs line. Now a little bit about the name. 31 Rue Cambon is the address in Paris of the boutique and the upstairs atelier and the private apartment that belonged to Coco Chanel. She acquired the property in the late teens when she was involved with Woody Chypre, who was her lover and investor in her business. He was certainly an encouraging factor to her in creating her business that first began as hats and then moved into perfumes and dresses and all. Well, it's blossomed into an incredible worldwide phenomenon. 31 Rue Cambon, you know, it's iconic. We hear that name and we know immediately what it is. You don't even have to say Chanel. What other designers in Paris do we know their addresses? Well, we're kind of sure that Dior has their atelier and boutique on the Avenue Montaigne, but the other ones, I'm not sure. Of course, if you lived in Paris, you would probably know. Chanel No. 5 was born in 1921 when she was at 31 Rue Cambon, and all of the other perfumes came after. Now, during World War II, she retired from the business, stopped selling her haute couture clothing, and only sold from 31 Rue Cambon Chanel No. 5. When the Allies arrived in Paris, there was a run on the boutique by American GIs eager to buy Chanel No. 5, little bottles of Chanel No. 5 for their girlfriends and wives and mothers back home. Chanel stayed retired from her business until 1954 when she made her comeback. Her comeback was not considered a success by the French, but the Americans loved the new look that she had created, and they kick-started her resurgence as a haute couture designer. Of course, today the business is a worldwide phenomenon, and Karl Lagerfeld is the designer behind the Chanel label today. If you're interested in finding out more about the creation of perfumes by Chanel during this period from 1921 on, there's a wonderful book that I highly recommend called The Secret of Chanel No. 5, The Intimate History of the World's Most Famous Perfume, and it's by Thilard Mazeo. Check that out, and it's a great book, all about, you learn so much about the making of perfume, but you also learn about the incredible house that Chanel was. Now, 31 Rue Cambon is a Woody Chypre, and the nose behind it is Jacques Polge, who's done so many wonderful fragrances and was the nose until just recently for the House of Chanel. The top notes are bergamot, green notes, and black pepper. The mid notes are iris, rose, ylang ylang, and the bottom notes are patchouli and labdanum. Now this is a Woody Chypre, and it has some very interesting cousins in this particular genre of perfume. And I will mention that there are, a lot of them are masculine. So they're more masculine than feminine fragrances. This is labeled as a feminine, but it definitely has a really strong masculine vibe going for it. Now, some other famous Woody Chypres would be Aramis, Bois d'Argent, and another one by Chanel, which is Antaeus. So let's talk a little bit about the relationship between these two fragrances. And I've got Antaeus sprayed right here. It is, of course, very bold and very, very masculine, and has a really strong animalic bite to it. Now, on 31 Rue Cambon, we'll just spray a little here. It is, the opening is so similar, but not, it doesn't have that kind of rude bite that Antaeus has. So if you're interested in something along the lines of Antaeus, but Antaeus is a bit too much for you, this would be a really wonderful fragrance for men who like that feel of a Woody Chypre, but not the kind of over-the-top boldness that, say, Antaeus. In the opening, there's definitely a little bite of that pepper that is really spicy, a kind of spicy, dark pepper that really works well. And the green notes just come right up out of it right in the beginning. As it moves into the mid, there's that iris, but it's not a lipsticky iris at all. It's just more of the green parts of the iris. As you know, our iris itself has no fragrance, but the greenness of this kind of the iris leaves. And there's a little touch of rose running through, but it's quite subtle, and a nice little spark of ylang-ylang. That really is lovely. And in the dry down, of course, you have this mix of the patchouli and the labdanum. Labdanum is so sensuous and wonderful. As a matter of fact, Madame de Pompadour and her paramour, the King of France, used to just take raw labdanum and rub themselves all over with it and get jiggy with it. They got jiggy with the with the labdanum. So it definitely has a very sensuous, lovely feel. And in the end, it all adds up to a really sophisticated and elegant fragrance. Now, I've been wearing it all day. I've been wearing it for several weeks, and the dry down is really, really beautiful. It's green, it's earthy, it has kind of this feel of digging your fingers into the green, mossy earth. It just really has that kind of great, it doesn't have oak moss in it, but it has that kind of same kind of feeling that you get from really good oak moss. It really lasts a long, long time on my skin. I would say the longevity on this is about 10 hours. The sillage is not big like Antaeus, but it's respectable. And season for this, I would say, is definitely spring, summer, and you can work it into the fall. Here in San Francisco, we can wear this all year round because we have such mild weather. But for places where it gets really cold and snowy in the wintertime, it's not something, unless you want to revisit the spring, it's not something I would wear at that time. For day wear, it's perfect, and actually it has a sophistication that can just carry you right into the evening. It really is an exceptional fragrance from the Exclusifs line. So I would highly recommend it if you're interested in a Woody Chypre that has the sophistication of Antaeus and Bois d'Argent, but not as rude. Rude is the wrong word. Not as bold as Antaeus. This is Lanier Smith from Sense Memory saying, remember, wear what you love and not what they say you should like. And I'll talk to you later.